All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to season 13 of Nemesis here as we got draft day and number one coming at you here. Very exciting day. As always, beginning of a new season always has that kind of electricity in the air. So I'm excited to be back. As we got a lot of hype going on. There's a hype train rolling in the chat. Big shout out to everyone. I'm gonna give a couple shout outs and then we'll go down the board and introduce our lovely group of casters here. But shout out to Dan for 25 months, Jarhead for 38 months, Jax coming back for 40. Happy 5-year birthday right there for Mr. Jax. Shadow 17 months, Grebsy for 16, and then Grebsy also gifting one to Sheriff as well. So much love to everyone getting us hyped up for a new season here as we'll get things going with the Novice League Draft in just a minute. But yeah, I'm Rockerman, director here at Nemesis, and I guess we'll go on and introduce our lovely group of casters here, starting out with the one and only Flip 1010 right below me there. Flip, how are you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, just ready to get this league kicked off. Recommend it's been a long off season of being called a playoff joker, so I'm ready to redeem myself.
Well, hopefully, Flip, this will be the season for you. As long as you don't be my
We said that
team.
last season. Yep.
Okay, well, well, hey, I want the best for you unless you have to play my team, and then then I want not the best for you. But we'll see how it goes. We got rival be tomorrow. We'll talk a lot more, I'm sure, then. But also with us tonight, we got Mr. Speed Demon. He'll be doing some drafting as well tonight. Speed, how are you doing? You excited for tonight?
I'm excited. I'm anxious. Nervous. The GM aspect of draft night is so many different emotions. You got to play so many different things. You got to have your calculator in your right hand. And then doing it while casting, it's makes it a little harder, but it's super fun. I love it. It kicks off the season, and I'm glad to be a part of it almost every season. So let's get after it.
Oh yeah, we're just about ready to get things going. Last but not least, we got the one and only Ventus. Ventus, I know you've been a part of many of these drafts here in Nemesis history. How you feeling as we're going into season 13?
I think this is actually the first one I'm casting, so I'm taking a much more hands-on approach this season. I'm not a GM though anymore. I guess this was a while ago. I was a GM, so I do understand your guys' dilemma with having to choose the correct people, think on your feet, and just kind of go with the flow. Make sure you get the right guys for you. And there are a lot of really good top end novice league players this season. And I think that these GMs are going to be cooking up a storm, especially Frost having the first overall pick.
Yeah, and let's dive into this a little bit here into the Novice League here. Frost sitting at number one overall, and there were some changes afoot here coming into Novice League for season 13. Still 8 teams in Novice, but I know Speed, you had a team in Novice last season. Now you've got a team in Titan. We did the expansion in Titan, but there was a little bit some shifting around in the Novice League for season 13.
Yeah, there was, I got my Titan team back. I've always wanted a Titan team. Yes, I got to lose my novice team. I was a little sad because I was going to be retaining a player from last year. But, he's over with Sands now. Everyone is happy, excited. Definitely some changing around. We got the Vandals coming back. I know a lot of people love the Vandals, a very, well known org. Um, Exciting to see that. Genesis is coming back, Rocketman, your own org, and Frost is coming back. So 3 new teams. Love to see them. Very good staples here that have had a lot of novice history.
Yeah, definitely so. And if you guys weren't following along with the offseason changes, yeah, Speed touched on them there. Those teams basically, replacing the former teams. So Genesis replacing Acceleration there. Vandals. Now they're gonna make me forget the teams
Rooks.
we replaced. They're pawns.
Pawns. Yep. Sorry.
Pawns there And then last but not least, Frost coming through and replacing the Spitfires in Novice. So basically a 1-for-1, and we'll touch on it the Titan League tomorrow about how they expanded up to 12 teams. So a couple of changes around in Novice, but I guess without any further ado, let's get this thing going here. Let's get Frost on the clock. You see them first, sitting there with that #1 overall pick, and Frost has definitely had quite a bit of time to think about this one, Flip. A lot of good names on the board, a lot of top end talent in the Novice League this season.
Yes, and I would like to, see where Dan goes with this one. Knowing Dan, he has a very well thought out plan and knows exactly who's going to drop this first overall pick. He's had months to think about it, and so, I mean, he must know who he's picking 100% because he's just such a well thought out GM. He's my goat. But seriously, though, there are a lot of good players here. Now some players that I really know, I'm just looking at him right now. Beard is the one that I would be taking, and as he goes off the board, that's so funny. Beard is a great player. He was on my Kiwis last season. I'm no longer AGM. Shout out Shadow. But man, the Kiwis, they made the finals with, really, it was Beard. It was on the back of Beard. I'm pretty sure he won MVP. Maybe not. Maybe I know who's in the running for MVP at least. He's just that dude. And Dan picked up a great player here with Beard.
Yeah, so he is going to go ahead and take a Beard off the board with the #1 overall pick. And yeah, definitely, like you said, a good selection there. MVP from last season. So it's hard to go wrong taking the reigning MVP off the board there. So Beard going to go off the board, and that'll put Genesis up on the clock. So yeah, now it's on us to make the pick. So I'm going to take a little look, and Ventus, maybe you can predict who we might take off the board here.
I mean, looking at it, there's a player that I absolutely love, and that's Lucky Rise. And I mean, he was the #1 player rated in Novice League last season, above Beard actually. Very crucial to, I believe it was the Wisps team, and they won last season, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm just um, throwing smoke, but I think he is by far the next best player. I mean, I put him and Beard at the very, very top of Novice League. And there's a couple others that I could say are like 1C, 1D. Like Demoralize is a very good player. He was in Novice last season, as well as Earn is very
Mm.
good. Jolly Rogers is a well known name, but I feel like those three guys are just a little bit below the tier of Beard and Lucky. And I think that, I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do, Rockman, but if I were you, I'd be taking Lucky.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to see here. I think I know what I'm doing here. I was just trying to see if Chunk had any final reservations here, but I think I know what we're gonna do here. But we are running a little low on time, so I might just have to go ahead and make it here.
You've had
Hey,
all the time in the world, Rocker Man. You had the second pick. How many of your guys got sniped? Come on.
uh,
all one of them got sniped, I think.
Rockerman, did Beard not? Was Beard who you thought you were getting? Rockerman, be honest.
Um, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure to be honest, but we are going to go ahead and we're actually going to go through and go in at the very top. Going to select Skinny Legend off the board there. Someone that Chunk really liked. Obviously, Genesis kind of taking over for Acceleration. We were able to re-sign Chunk, and Skinny was the one he wanted off the board there. So we're gonna go ahead and take him. 1319 MMR, moving down into Novice League. We held quite a few tryouts for Novice, and he was the one that Chunk was looking at. So we're gonna go ahead and take him off the board, pair him up with Chunk Light this season, and see what those that dynamic duo can do.
Yeah, I mean, any duo with Chunklight as one of the main players and is going to be a very good team. I mean, he did falter a little bit during playoffs. He did have the help of Hunter, who stepped up big time. I believe he got moved up to Challenger League. But I think that Chunklight is a very, very solid player, and pairing him up with a player he thinks he's going to do very good with. I mean, I'm super excited to see this Genesis team in action.
Yeah, no, I 100% there. Ventus Chunk is, just always a solid player. Honestly, going like halfway through the season, I thought Chunk would be the MVP because I felt like his I mean, it felt like he was acceleration at sometimes. Obviously, I think Hunter did have a huge step up and a huge impact on that team as well. And so now going looking into this next Nemesis season, man, we got Chunk Light and Skinny Legend teaming up, and now that's a dynamic duo. But now the Vandals for Sloth, they are getting themselves a duo as they pick up Tizzy in the draft to pair up with Deddy F, who was already on the team.
Yeah, no, I heard a lot of hype about Tizzy as well there, coming through off the board. So it's good to see some new names coming off the board, especially top three overall. So Sloth and the Vandals must have definitely saw something in Mr. Tizzy there, taking a top three pick, and then Diffusion coming through on the clock and immediately making their selection. They are going to go ahead and select the guy Ventus that you were talking about, Lucky Rays, going off the board to Diffusion there. So Diffusion, that team, they've been kind of putting in some work in the Novice League the last couple seasons, and now they're gonna round out their roster there.
That's such a scary roster right there. I mean, Div Sub Zero, who has been up in the prospect league for a couple seasons, plays very well. Div obviously has been a staple here in Novice, and then Lucky with the season that he had last season, and now you pair all three of them together. Um, and their team's already made in the first round, like after one pick. Like that's just scary. All these other teams have a lot of work they're gonna have to put in. They're gonna need to grind. They're gonna need to get on the same page quick if they want to catch up with Diffusion.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that one. I mean, that's my guy right there. I was a
Mhm.
little surprised that he fell. I know I did hear among the grapevines that Tizzy and Skinny were pretty good, but my personal bias led me to thinking Lucky was going to get picked second. He falls a little bit to fourth. I mean, I was thinking if he was the top one or two novice league player last season, and he fell a little bit. I was a little bit surprised, but I still think top four is a very good place for him to be. And I mean, how fitting Diffusion gets him. I mean, Div and Sub Zero both are great players. I think that this team is going to be, I might say, one of the teams to be. I like Genesis, and I really like Diffusion right now. I was kind of wondering if Lucky is going to fall back to the Wisps and go back to the team that he was on last season, but unfortunately, that doesn't happen for him.
Yeah, not gonna happen quite this time here, but he is gonna go off the board. Lucky heading to Diffusion, and the Gorgons come through. They are gonna select Demoralize, who a lot of people were looking at last season. I know Speed, you got a firsthand experience with him, and then
Oh
also
yeah.
shout out the next pick, Confiding Apple going to the Wisp. But Speed, what do you know about Demoralize now heading over to the Gorgons?
I think that's a great pickup for them. Demoralize will, if you look at his name and how it's spelled, demo in all caps, demo everyone on the pitch. He averages a crazy amount of demos, like 7, 8 demos a game, while playing in rotations. And he's also very, mechanical for a novice player as well. So with just the aspect of what he can do, that's a great pickup. He's a great carry for a team, and with a player who's solid like Kadofi on the Gorgons already, that's a good two-headed monster right there to start. So great pickup for them. I wish I could say something about the Wisp pickup and Confiding Apple, but that's a new name for me in Nemesis, unless that's a name change that I'm not aware of. And I'm not confident that I know that name from any other league. So I don't know if any of you guys have any information on Confiding Apple.
Fire name. That's all I can tell you. Like confide in Apple, whenever if I ever would be a GM in Nemesis, I would only pick players based on their names in the lower leagues because I just don't know them. So we got some great player names out there. Speaking of royalty, what a name. That first, it exudes royalty, if you will, as the Kiwis pick him up, who was on the Kiwis last season, made that finals run, and proceeded to get swept in the finals. But I was there. I say coach. I yell at the players whenever they need to be yelled at. And royalty, man, he was the one that I think took all the advice to heart and really did improve, especially throughout playoffs. I really think he stepped up. And so seeing the Kiwis being able to pick him back up after Shadow um, traded for the wrong pick already, and still getting a player that we are definitely were looking at. And at 1244, still have a lot of room to work with. And Wisp pick up Parallax, which another fire name, um, an okay decal, but a really good name. And Parallax. Going with Confiding Apple there and Mr. Silent. That's another three-man roster that has already been completed here in the Novice League. And I don't know all that much, but name for name, I'm taking Confiding Apple, Parallax, and Mr. Silent over Lucky Div and Sub Zero. That's all I'm saying.
I
Hey,
love it. I love it.
last season there was this player in the Novice League, and we absolutely loved his name, and he actually showed out crazy, and that's Guacman John. So I have so much faith in Confiding Apple to be that kind of dog in the Novice League. He's gonna be the next Guacman John, and let me tell you, I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, that will be exciting for sure. Love some great names, and yeah, Parallax also a Nemesis legend, been here since pretty much season one, I believe, or at least very long time. So good to see him coming back, and yeah, it's going to round out round number one. And as we move on to round number two here, got to give a couple of quick shout outs. Shout out to Logan coming back for 20 months, Grebsy gifting a sub, and then the Shackles coming back with a Prime subscription. So shout out to you guys. So round one is in the books here. We're going to get round number two underway. A reminder for Novice, it is only 8 teams for Novice, so 8 picks per round. So that left-hand side, that's round number one, and now we're moving on to round number two here. But Speed, I wanna ask you, now that round one is in the books, we're moving on to round number two. What do you make of round number one? Any surprises that you see in round one?
Honestly, um, not really any surprises, Um, maybe a couple. I'm not familiar with Tizzy, so I don't know where Tizzy came from, but Sands is in so many different leagues. He knows so many different players. That honestly doesn't surprise me that, he said, "Hey, why don't you come join me? I got a team for you to play in another league. Are you down?" And plays Monday, Wednesday nights, and this Tizzy guy goes, "I got you." Confiding Apple, obviously Mr. Silent staying over there on the Wisps, taking over things. Mr. Silent loves to do his research. Confiding Apple's new. I don't know. That might be a friend of Mr. Silent. So only those two names, just because they're new to the league, surprising. But other than that, things kind of shake out. Skinny Legend and Chunk have known each other for a while. That makes sense. Royalty going back to the Kiwis. That makes sense. Demoralize playing with a very solid kind of passive Kadofi, getting that aggressor makes sense. Lucky Raz, I knew that was happening. I'm good friends with Street Soul, so I knew that's what they were trying to do all along. And Beard going first off the board to Frost, right? You got your MVP going first off the board back in the same league. He didn't move up in the prospect league. That makes sense. So really, not too many surprises here coming in the first league, in the first round, for my opinion.
Yeah, no, a lot of names we'll recognize for sure in that first round, and yeah, like a couple of you guys mentioned here, a couple teams rounding out their roster with the Wisps and Diffusion rounding things out there, and now Frost are gonna come through, and a very interesting name
I
coming
love this name.
out of here, Flip. We got Joe Mama headed over to Frost.
I don't know. I don't know. My mom played Rocket League like that, but Joe Mama do because Joe Mama, you know, he's on the Frost and Dan. Definitely listen to the stream. Definitely looking at chat. Joe, I saw Joe Mama type, and then I saw Joe Mama on the list, and then I saw him leave the list and go to Frost. So I don't know if maybe Dan's looking in the chat looking for some players, but another 1300 Sal. Um, two really high Sals here for Frost, and if Beard and Joe Mama can start working together, some chemistry gets flowing. Frost can be pretty dangerous. Also has that 10 in the name. Shout out. That's the best number in the world.
No bias at all, right
Not
there.
at all. Not at all.
Not at all. But yeah, Joe Mama must know something. Also new to Nemesis here for season 13. So Dan must know something about him. One with a well-known Nemesis name in Beard, and then Joe Mama coming from Frost there. So they got their two-man roster set up, and now we're looking at the Gorgons on the clock here, trying to see what they're gonna do with Demoralize and Kadofi. off the board, and they are going to go ahead and select Zaya. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Let's see. Yep, Zaya. I heard a lot of good things from Zaya. Zaya's been active in the chats fairly often. Um, so I don't know much about their play style or anything, but from what I've heard, definitely a good pick up there to head over there with Demoralize and Kadofi.
Okay, I do know Zaya, Zaya. I forgot what we called him, but I played League of Legends with him. So
Oh,
yeah, if anything translates, he's Iron in League of Legends, which is the lowest rank. So I don't know how good of a pickup this is. But he was,
hopefully doesn't.
but he was a support player, and he actually played support pretty well. So hopefully he could support this team. That's all. Like they needed a third, they got a demoer, they got a support, and I don't really know Kato. I don't really know him, but maybe he's the one that they needed. But all I can say is I did play Rocket League with him one time. We were playing League of Legends. They were like, "Hey, let's play some six mans," and we did. It was okay, but this was 2 years ago, so I really couldn't tell you how good he is now. But look, this is all the insight that you're going to get out of me. But he's a great support player, so maybe he'll support the Gorgons to a victory.
He said he's up to silver now, Flip. So me
Oh,
and him,
silver!
me and him at the same rank out here. We'll have to hit up the rift
I
soon.
do
But
remember the stretch.
have to hit it up on the rift there. Hey, if you support, I'm bot, so we'll make it happen out here. Unfortunately, I don't get him on my novice team, but yeah, he's gonna go off the board, head in the Gorgons for their third pick, and then we got a couple picks flying off the board here. Cam and Earn going to the Crows with their back-to-back selections, and then the Kiwis are going to come through and they are going to select off the top of the board. I believe that's Mystic Soul heading to their
Mm.
team. If they disappeared on me, but yeah, there they go off the board. Yeah, Mystic Soul. They got some numbers in the name. They're gonna throw me off over here.
Man, a lot of quick fire picks just then. I mean, we talk about Cam and Earn. I really liked the Earn pick. I think he played very well last season. I believe he was in the league last season. I remember watching him, and I thought he was a very solid player. I'm not sure too much about Cam. I heard a couple good things from Crip. So obviously he likes Cam. He's super stoked to have those two on a team together. I'm a little surprised that there's a couple players still on the board that were very prominent kind of last season in Vanilla Face and Jolly Rogers, both kind of veteran presence and they're relatively lower saled. I'd be surprised if they don't go off the board very soon. And another player, Sub Zero TTV, he's been super active in the Discord. I actually played with him recently in a six mans. Honestly, he was pretty solid for a novice player. So I'm kind of surprised those three haven't kind of gone off the board, but I love taking shots on the rookies.
Oh yeah, you gotta love the rookies. That's the one thing too about Nam is it's a lot of unknowns. When you take a shot on these rookies, you're betting on these players are going to get better throughout the season and improve. Above the novice rank. So yeah, it will be interesting to see if anyone has found some shots in the dark. We did see a couple rookies go off the board as next pick going to come through as well for Genesis. Going to go ahead and select Zen with our pick. So diving down into the depths of the 1100s there, but that's someone that Chunk liked from our tryouts, and gonna take one of those first 1100 off the board. So watch out, guys. We're first on those 1100s. There's a lot of them down there.
There is a lot of them. I was surprised to see that many 1100s. I know, we accept players a little under 1100 and we just bump them up to 1100, which makes sense why we have so many. But we have a lot of players, who are lower ranked that love the grind, that love the game, that want to play in leagues, and I love it. And it helps. It helps with our numbers. So of course, all of you lower ranked players, league obviously wouldn't happen without you, and obviously these teams can't build these super teams without these low sal players either, right? If you're going to have a super team, you're going to need a really good sub at a low MMR, and if you can fit that category, you're just as important. Yes, you may not get the play time that you want, but you're just as important in building your team by being such a low good MMR player.
Yeah.
Ventus, you're talking about him. And Jolly Rogers did get picked up by the Kiwis. along. We talked a little bit about Mystic Soul. This rounds out the top three for the Kiwis here. Really solid novice team here. Mystic Soul, Royalty, Jolly Rogers. I know Royalty and Jolly Rogers. I've seen them play on novice teams before. Mystic Soul, I'll need to see something, but I expect great things. That's a top three that I'm really excited to see. But now we're seeing a lot of these teams start to take form. Literally every team except for two has three players. So we're starting to see, who really does have, the best three starters, we would say. And now we're seeing the 1100s come off the board here as nitrous oxide gets taken, another 1100. Obviously, Rocketman, you took your 1100 early, but now is a time when you want those subs, you want those low sal players like you're talking about, Speed. And these teams, they're looking for those last little pieces to fit, and we're running out of those high sal players to make it work.
Yeah, no, and yeah, nitrous oxide, someone I also recognize from Nemesis past before. So been around in the league before. That's also something that's kind of valuable about those lower MR players is to dive down and get someone that has some Nemesis experience there. So solid round out there for the Wisp with nitrous oxide. And you guys mentioned Jolly Rogers, Royalty, and Mystic Soul there on the Kiwis. So they're looking good and looking solid as that's going to end out round number 2 here. Ventus, before we head to our final 2 rounds here, which will be shorter for you guys that don't know, since there's rosters that are already filled up with re-signs. But rounds 3 and 4 are usually a little bit shorter. But Ventus, what do you notice here, rounds 1 and round 2, before we head over to round 3 and round 4?
Still got two of my guys on the board. That's what I see. Unfortunately, they're with how wide novices 1300 to 1100. I'm surprised to see that there's such a big gap between the bare minimum sals of the 1100s. The next highest is, or the next lowest, sorry, is an 1176. So there's very little room for error. You're going to have to go and get these very low sals for your subs. But I mean, overall, this looks like a very competitive Novice League season. I see a lot of really good teams. Crows have exiled, Earn, Cam. I really like that team. With Parallax, Silent, and Confiding Apple. I mean, Diffusion looks really good. We have a lot of really high end teams. Genesis looks great as well. Kiwis looks super good. I mean, I think this is probably going to be one of the most competitive novice seasons we've had ever.
Yeah, it is looking really good there, and big congratulations to everyone selected in the first 2 rounds, and a couple more shout outs. Shout out again to Grebsy gifting a sub over, and also to JP coming back for 30 months, much appreciated on the support. But yeah, let's keep things rolling into the third round now, as we are going to put Frost once again on the clock here, and Speed. We saw them go really high with their first couple of picks, and now more than likely here going to go a little bit lower to try to make their next final 2 selections.
Yeah, and it's really tough on what decision he's going to make here, right? Because, like Ventus said, there's that huge gap between your, you know, 1100s on the very bottom and your 1176, which they just took that 1176 and Dart, which still doesn't leave them, with a lot of room at 1132. So hopefully they have another pick soon because looking at all these other teams, they're all fighting for the same thing. They're all, other than Genesis, are fighting for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, as of right now, 5 teams, depending on what Vandals do, that need those 5 players that are 1100 or 1101. So, it's going to get a little hairy here. I don't know. A team may not end up with a sub to start the season.
That's the risk here when you try to go too high, and then too high MMR players and then the too lower MMR players. It can put you in a tough spot there once it comes down to the end. But yeah, the next 2 picks are coming across the board. Dart is going to be the one 1176 going to Frost, and then JM Cook is going to be heading over to the Gorgons to round out their roster. So closing things down their flip with Frost now with assuming they're starting 3, and then the Gorgons now with their complete roster.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, Frost, even though they took Dart, who was on the lower end of the salaries, like they didn't have much else to work with. Um, Frost literally had two 1300s. They are the only team with two 1300 players, because you just can't have that solid third, and so they take Dart over someone like Metallica, or Met. Yeah, we'll say
Yeah,
Metallica.
Metallica. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah, okay, yeah. And they just have a whole lot of options for that third, and so I think knowing Dan, he saw all three of those players play and decided to pick the best one. Now, we have Vandals, who the only team with still two roster spots remaining. They can go for the high sell, like Speed was talking about. But like Speed said, I think they shoot low here. They grab maybe an 1100, because that's what they're gonna need if they want one of those high sales, and nobody else can afford those high sales. So we're gonna have to wait and see. This pick timer running out. I think they're debating it right now, but in my head here, I'm going for an 1100. I'm taking the best one. They're gonna go for Metallica and prove me wrong. Yippee!
Hey,
It's the caster's curse.
I
maybe
mean,
that's
they got plenty of sal still. So
yeah. They're going down a little bit, but hey, maybe this is why
oh my
why
god.
Dr. Shadow took away your AGM flip. I don't know. Maybe that's why.
All
Just
right,
just
that's
just kidding. Just
personal
kidding. Just kidding. Just
touch
kidding. Just
subject.
kidding. Yeah. Sorry, that was a little too far. That was a little too far. We all know.
Just
We all
too
know.
soon, man.
It's all right. It's all right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Hasn't
But
even been a week.
hey, Sans does cook up some interesting things. Maybe out of most GMs or AGMs realms, he does some diabolical things, which I'm sure we'll talk about when we get a little deeper into the prospect. But he does pull some interesting maneuvers, to say the least. As the next one's coming off the board as well, Cayman is going to be going to the Crows, and that is another lower MMR player, I believe, to round out their roster. And yeah, the Crows are going to be rounded out for season 13.
Okay, and real quick, Shadow, this one's for you. If you have any value, in my opinion, your choices are between Crucial Urchin, Sergeant Albert 678, and Vestica Vecca.
Okay,
All
okay.
right, I'm going purely based off name, but Crucial Urchin is kind of a fire name. I don't know if it's AI generated or not, but that's kind of a fire name. I'm going with Crucial Urchin.
I mean, they all
Please.
kind of are, honestly.
Yeah,
They're
okay,
all very
okay,
unique
well,
names.
Sergeant Albert is next. It goes top to bottom. Crucial Urgent, Sergeant Albert, Vestica Vecca. That's my personal order in terms of name tiers here. So Shadow, if you have any value, in my opinion, if you still want me on the pineapples, actually, you're taking the
Ooh, is
The
that a threat?
blackmail.
Yep.
Flip, is that a threat?
Whoa,
No,
whoa.
it's a promise.
Oh, it's a
Oh
promise.
wow,
It's not just
wow.
wow.
Just kidding.
Well,
Everything okay.
I mean,
We'll see
things
what they
things
do.
are getting interesting. I've stirred up some drama in the Fruit Ninjas org. I'm trying to take them down here. Going
Mm-hmm.
into next season. We've had our long feud before, so I'm trying to start some internal conflict. Well, actually, Shadow
Oh,
Shadow started the internal conflict, I think,
Oh,
in
well,
my opinion.
actually, I see a transaction here. It says pineapples release flip 1010. I don't
whoa,
know.
whoa,
Just-
whoa.
yeah.
It's over. It's over for
Okay, but
Dylan.
first, Rockerman, you have your pick, and I hate to bring this to attention, but Rockerman, you either go with TX or XT7LX, the 1191, or you're picking another 1100. So you don't have a
he might
whole
have already
lot.
have his pick in.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're we're
I
gonna
had
take
a,
that guy.
I had a feeling, I had a feeling you were gonna go with him.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
He knows ball. He knows ball. I take back everything I said earlier. This man's a certified ball knower here.
I can do math.
Um, he can do math. You'll love to see it here. As we are going to take T7, and this is actually someone that we were looking at before the draft even started. So it was kind of nice that he's able to fall to us here at this pick. Probably going to be, well, depending how things go, but looking in that third MMR slot there. So we'll see how they're going to draft out. But hey, I like it when things fall into my hands here.
Yeah, it looks like Dr. Shadow does not care about Flip's opinion at all. Goes ahead and takes Sergeant Albert is what the stream says. does not look like he's posted the actual transaction in the Novice League Draft. Maybe it just hasn't been posted yet by Rockerman. And I'm
Name check.
leaking, you know.
We're waiting for a name check on that one.
Uh,
Let's
but
see if we can find him.
Flip absolutely in shambles, having to take a little bit of a walk away. We're hoping that Sergeant Albert isn't actually in Nemesis, so that he has to default to take Urchin. Uh, Flip, how you feeling right now, Flip?
Betrayed, hurt. Um,
This is why you
a
were
lot of
drafted. He
things.
doesn't value your opinion.
Yeah, look, I never knew Novice League could bring out such emotions in me, but I'm glad. I'm glad, that Novice League is
There you
so contested right now that I care about what 1100 we pick. So I think that just
go.
speaks to the league more than anything.
I think you're right. I think you're right. And we did find him. We did find him there. He was for some reason he wasn't popping up there, but he exists. He's real. Unfortunately for Flip, but I mean, hey, maybe he'll prove you wrong, Flip. I mean, maybe this is
I'm a
one of those.
Frost fan now, by the
I,
way. I just
oh
want to
wow,
make that out there.
wow.
That's all.
I mean, hey, I mean they are going to go ahead and select Crucial Urchin
Hmm.
off the board there with their selection as we're kind of near the end of the round here. But hey, you know what, Flip? This is kind of one of those things where, if I'm if I'm Sergeant Albert, I got something to prove here. We got some beef, Flip. You know what I'm saying?
Don't worry. I'm not his AGM. What's he gonna say to me? Yeah, like Sergeant Albert. Congratulations. Welcome to the team. Look at this Frost team. They got Beard. Okay, that's an okay. But then they got Joe Mama and Crucial Urchin. What a team! Oh my goodness, that is beautiful. Well done by Dan. That's all I could say.
Yeah.
Just purely off of the Urchin pick, huh, Flip?
Whoa, Joe Mama's pretty good too, Ventus.
What do you mean by that?
Hey.
We don't know. We're talking about the player here, but
Mhm,
yeah, the
mhm.
Frost team, the Frost team, the Frost team is looking pretty good as we're got the Vandals on the clock. Yeah, a couple picks kind of going rapid fire here as we're rounding out round number 4 here. So these are the last 2 picks of the Novice League draft. It's up to the Vandals with 1282 remaining, and then
Hmm.
Diffusion with 1158 remaining. So we're gonna have to see what Sandsbar is looking at here as they are going to go ahead and they are going to make their selection here, coming through selecting Sub-Zero RL, someone that we probably most of us expected to go off the board a lot earlier, but he's actually going to be the second to last selection here in the Novice League draft.
I think this might be a little bit of a mistake. I think we're thinking of Sub-Zero TTV. I think Sub-Zero RL is already on a team, and that's Diffusion. I'm not sure
Oh
what.
yeah, yeah. There are 2 of them. There are 2 of them.
So maybe I don't know. I like Sub-Zero TTV. I have to differentiate now. I actually just played with him recently. I think he's actually a pretty solid novice player. Very high value considering you get him in the very 4th round. And I think Diffusion having Mr. Irrelevant on the team, they have Vestia Vecca. I obviously the last 1100 off the board. Maybe got a little something to prove. Hopefully, got a chip on his shoulder. He might not necessarily start with how stacked this division roster is, but what a way to round it out, you know.
There you go. And that all I'm saying is that is going to be a nightmare. That is going to be a nightmare for casters there. We got Sub-Zero on Diffusion, and we got a Sub-Zero on the Vandals. So um, I will not be volunteering myself to cast that one. I'll just put that out there. You
They're
guys
not
can
allowed to
one.
play on stream.
Oh.
Look, guys, having the same name as somebody does not make it that confusing to cast. Let me
It
Yeah,
is
know.
yeah,
because when
yeah.
you say a name, which one are you talking about?
Well,
I feel
look,
like
Which
that's
flip is flip?
slight
So we'll just call one
hypocrisy.
TTV and one RL for the day.
yep, that's the
Just
one.
call one sub and one zero. Like
Ooh.
uh, instead of flip and flip. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
casting a pineapples versus whiteout series where I said, and Flip's going for the ball. Oh, and there's Flip intercepting it, taking possession. And let me tell you, that was not fun. So I think that the Sub Zero is gonna also be a little bit difficult to cast, but such is the life of a caster.
Yeah, that is how it goes. But yeah, that is gonna round out the novice league draft there. So I do want to go around now that these teams are kind of set up. I do kind of want to take a look here and see what you guys think about these rosters. Who stands out to you? What stands out to you as we head into season 13? I know we were talking a lot about how this is looking like a very competitive novice league. I guess Flip, I'll start with you. Which teams are you looking at here as maybe the favorites or something that you really find interesting here?
Yes, favorites. I think the favorite should be either Diffusion or I'll go ahead and throw Crows in there as well. In my opinion, I think Earn is really good for 12-17. Um, and then that's for the favorites to win it. My favorite to watch is going to be Frost. Shout out Joe Mama and Crucial Urchin. Those two. That's what I'm going to be keeping my eye on. Yeah, I think the Kiwis are the worst team. This is all
Whoa.
Dr. Shadow's fault. He's down in Prospect League, so he can't be down here to carry a novice anymore.
Hey, there you go. You got him. You got him, Flip.
Hmm.
Speed. What are you looking at here in the novice league kind of for the season?
I know a lot of people are probably going to sleep on this team, but the Gorgons, I think the Gorgons look really good with Kadofi and Zaya being just two really good, solid players. And then just the pressure that Demoralize puts on teams, even if he's not picking up demos, the thought of him being able to get 15 demos in a 5-minute match goes through your head. Everybody knows him from last season now, and that's going to really start to get into people's heads. So I think just the mental pressure of knowing we have the Gorgons this week who have Demoralized. Um, is just gonna get in their head. So I think that's a very good, sleeper pick in my opinion. Um, you can't go wrong with your Genesis squad either, Rocker Man. Skinny Legend and Chunklate, two, really good players who have both been in the Prospect League before. Being down here at the top of Novice, that's a really good duo in my opinion as well.
Hey, I like that. I like that shout out. I'll allow that one. Shout out Genesis. Ventus, who are you looking at here? Teams or players heading to season 13?
I'm looking at three teams. Two of them, or I guess all three are already said. I think Genesis with Chunklight and Skinny Legend. Chunklight, kind of knowing exactly who he wants to put around him as the play style and players who he likes. I think that team is going to mesh really well. I think having Chunklight be the center of it is going to be a very good thing. I mean, he played so well. Flip talked about it earlier. He thought throughout halfway through the season, Chunklight was going to be the MVP. That's going to be a good team. Diffusion. I mean, that team is just looks so filthy on paper. And Crows. I think the Exiled, Earn, and Cam are going to be really, really good. And that's not to say that there aren't a lot of teams that in here are good. I can see 8 teams that could win this championship, and there are only 8 teams. But I think those two kind of separate themselves a little bit from the rest.
Hey, fair enough. Fair enough. We will have to see here how it's all going to shake out. I got to give a couple more quick shout outs with the subs there. Shout out again to Grebsy and Wiggle gifting out some subs. Also, Mr. LK coming back for 10 months on the resub. So big shout out to you guys for supporting us on draft day number 1. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a short little break here. Probably about 5 minutes or so. Short little break to prepare ourselves for the Prospect League draft. But when we come back, that one is on the board here. 16 teams in the Prospect League. As Grebsy's gifting again, shout out Grebsy one more time. He's getting his name out there. That's name recognition right there. He's trying to get his way on a roster. So hey, respect to that. But yeah, quick little break. But when we come back, we're heading to the Prospect League. A lot of drama. There is some drama. You guys don't want to miss it. You guys want to hear about what happened with pick number 1 in the Prospect League right before this draft started. So make sure you guys stick back with us here, and we'll see you guys in a couple minutes.